Okay, class, I had a few emails actually about this single question, and I wanted to go over it. It's from section 3.4, number 5. I'm going to do the example as if I was one of you guys, as if I was a student, and walk you through it and explain what they're talking about and how they're getting certain answers. Because a few of you that have emailed me about it, it's been different aspects of the answer that we're getting incorrect. And it's a lot easier just to make a little video over it than try to explain it through email. So let me share my screen. Yep. And here's what the question looks like. So we've got homework through section 3.4, question number 5. And first it asks you to compute the mean. I think then it probably asks for like the population standard deviation. So I'm going to pop this out to StatCrunch. Now, I don't know if you can see StatCrunch. Let me see. If you guys, okay, it shows that you can see StatCrunch. In the past, like whenever there was a pop-up in Zoom, it wouldn't let you see it. So you can see StatCrunch here. So I'm going to go to Stat, Summary Stats, Columns. I want the first one. I want the mean, and then I want these two, the unadjusted. I guess I want the unadjusted because that means population. So compute. And it tells me these three. Now I'm going to write these down. So the population variance is going to be 11319. The population standard deviation is going to be 106, which is the square root of that, right? 106.392. And then the mean should be 102.56. Okay, so let's pop that into the answer here. So the mean 102.5. Wait, what is it? One decimal place, so it would be 6. Yeah. Enter. Yay, good job. Okay. So then the variance is going to be 11319. Fantastic. The population standard deviation. Now you can take the square root of this. That's fine, or you can just do that in the StatCrunch. And you wind up with 106. Now they want you to round it to one decimal place, so 0.4. Hey, nice work. Now it asks, what percent of the 50 regions have stores within plus or minus 1 standard deviation, 2 and 3 standard deviations of the mean? So let's do this. And I'm going to flip this over for a minute to actually show you the math. So stop sharing. I'm going to flip over to my document camera here. So the way we do this, it's kind of wonky there. So we've got the population, standard deviation, and the mean. I'm going to take the mean, 102.56, plus or minus. Now for one standard deviation, you're going to do 1 times the standard deviation. So 106. We'll do not 392 just for fun. So when I do that, and I'm going to just do that in a calculator. So I'm going to 102.56 plus or minus 1 times. So you got to multiply first. So I do that in my calculator, and I'm just doing this on my phone. So 102.56 plus 106, 106.392. I wind up with 208. Let's just say 95. When I subtract 102.56 minus 106.392, I end up with negative 3.832. So look, any value that's between these two numbers is considered within one standard deviation of our data. So between negative, which there's no negative number, so really kind of between 0 and 208.95. So I'm going to go back to my screen here. So let me share my screen again. And I'm going to bring StatCrunch up. And then I'm going to take this, because this is all my data right here in StatCrunch. I'm going to do it ascending or descending, doesn't matter. So look, there's 1 all the way down to 50. So I've got 50. What is this? Table shows number of one company stores located. Below shows the number of one company stores located in each of the 50 regions. Okay, so this is just the number of stores located in 50 different regions. And notice, remember, our numbers were between 0, really negative 3.82, or 832, but so 0 and 208.95. Now that's going to stop right here. So any number, so 1 through 44 or 45 in ascending order, all are included in our interval. So I'm going to switch back over to, so 45. So these numbers right here, 46, so 230, 306, 345, 410, and 560 are not in our interval. So if I switch back to, oh, my screen, hold on. So I want to stop. Stop showing. Okay. So therefore, 45 out of 50 are within this interval. So 45 out of 50, that's going to be 90%. So if I go back to my screen here, and I put in 90%. Nice word. Okay, so now let's do 2 standard deviations. So to do 2 standard deviations, so let's go back to here. So I would have 102.56 plus or minus 3, oh, not 3, I'm doing 2 times 106.392. So I've got to multiply this by 2 first. So 102.56 plus or minus, now 2 times 106.392 is 212.784. So now I've got to subtract and add 212.784 to 102.56 to get an interval. Okay, so 102.56 minus 212.784. That's going to be negative 110.2. Now, in reference to this question, the least amount of stores you can have is 0, right? But theoretically, if we do standard deviations, it's going to be negative 110. Now we want to add those. So 102.56 plus 212.784. I get 315.34. So now I'm going to go back to my column over here in StatCrunch. Let me share my screen again. Share. I'm going to go back to my column in StatCrunch, and I'm going to do the same thing. Let's sort this in ascending and see how many are outside of our interval. So our top number is 315. Oh, there's only 3 outside of our interval now. So that means 47 out of 50 are going to be within our interval. So if I go back, so let's stop sharing this. I go back to here, 47 out of 50 are under 315. Right? So 47 out of 50, 47 divided by 50, that's going to be 94%. So if I go back to my StatCrunch here, and I put in 94%, boom, nice work. Okay, so now let's do 3. So I go back. You guys see the pattern here, hopefully. Stop the share. If I do 3, it's going to be 102.56 plus or minus 3 times 106.392. So I'm going to multiply the 3 times the 106.392. So 3 times 106.392, that's going to be 319.176. My lower interval is going to be minus, oh gosh, 102.56 minus negative 216.62. My upper interval is going to be 421.736. So if I go back, I got to see which stores are really, what regions have more than 421 stores. So when I go back to this data, share my screen again. Share screen. If I go back to opening up in StatCrunch, I probably might have already had this open, that's fine. And I go back to ascending this thing. I think I've only got 1. Yeah, there's only 1. There's this one region that has 560 stores. So that means 49 out of 50 are going to be in our interval. Okay, so if we stop the share here, 49 out of 50 are in our interval. I think that's 98%. Let's see, 49 divided by 50. Yeah, 98%. Okay, so if I go back, share the screen here, I would get 98%. Great. Okay, the last question I'll let you do because it's an interpretation. Now, remember, this is really talking about the empirical rule. And the empirical rule is, look, the first standard deviation empirically should be around 68%, and we got 90%. And then hold on a second, let's, yeah, the first standard deviation, we got 90% in reality, but theoretically, it should have been closer to 68%. Two standard deviations is 95%, and then three standard deviations is around 99.8%. Depends on the textbook, actually, and the author. But that last question asks you, well, what should we have gotten? What are you surprised by? I can tell you it has to do with this first standard deviation because it's a lot larger than what it should be. Okay, so I hope that helps. The questions that I received from you guys, keep chugging along. You guys are doing great. Actually, this semester, this class is going pretty smooth so far, based on your grades and based on the questions and comments I'm getting from students. So if you have any other questions, just let me know. And I look forward to the rest of the semester. We're halfway done pretty much. I mean, we're in week 7 and there's 15 weeks this semester. So we're pretty close to halfway done. So keep working hard. If